The state says YNW Melly is a cold-blooded killer, while the defense says the state can't prove it. He faces 2 counts of first-degree murder for the death of 2 lifelong friends, Chris Thomas and Anthony Williams. They were part of his rap group YNW.
And Mr. Demons responds very succinctly, "I did that." Shh.
It was all fun and games when YNW Melly rapped about murder on his mind, but when 2 of his friends and group mates ended up dead, the song began to look like an ominous confession. Now Melly is facing trial for murdering his friends and might even be given the death penalty. But even then, the psychopathic rapper seems unfazed and is seen giving a brutal warning to the victim's family. What has Melly done to traumatize the victim's family? You're about to find out today.
I found my first gun when I was 9 years old. Ever since then, like growing up, I was so addicted to the bitches. I loved them bitches. If you up that bitch at a nigga and bust his ass.
YNW Melly was part of the rap group YNW. The group came to a devastating end when 2 of the rappers, YNW Sakchaser and YNW Juvy, were murdered in cold blood. Initially, Melly tried to cover it up as a drive-by shooting, but the evidence was perfectly clear. Melly had killed his friends and had no remorse for his actions.
Why he would commit such a heinous crime against his own 2 best friends for no reason.
Now that the walls are closing in on the rapper and the possibility of him ending up with a death penalty is getting higher and higher, you would expect Melly to sober up and ask for forgiveness or admit to his actions. But the rapper is far from remorseful. In fact, his behavior in court is a slap in the face to the victims' families. It looks like he is sending a clear warning message to Juvy's family.
Really? Really?
In a shocking video, YNW Melly can be seen blowing a kiss towards Juvy's family and then smirking. If there were any doubts left about him being guilty, his demeanor in court has cleared them. Melly knows what he is doing by acting like this in front of the victim's family. It's clearly meant to hurt and disrespect them. After taking away their beloved son, Melly is now rubbing salt in their wounds by acting cringy and happy in court. Juvy's mother also came forward to talk about Melly's threatening and disrespectful attitude. While the family is mourning the death of their young son, Melly refuses to even be serious in court. She spoke about his shocking behavior and said, "He did it a couple times. That wasn't his first time." Clearly, Melly was trying to upset Juvy's family and possibly even get them to react. But the family didn't fall for these antics. Instead, Juvy's mother removed herself from this situation. "I walked out because what are you praying for? You sitting there like you ain't got no remorse. Like every time I walk in, you are smiling. This ain't the time for that. This is sad. This case is serious." The victims' families are going through an unimaginable time right now. Both Juvy and Sakchaser were bright young men with their whole lives ahead of them. They wanted to make it big in the rap world and become respectable artists. But all these dreams of fame and money came crashing down when Melly took their lives and left the families hurting and lost. What makes it even worse is that both Juvy and Sakchaser considered Melly as their best friend. Even the families considered Melly their son and wished nothing but the best for him. Juvy's aunt talked about how much it hurt them that Melly was the one to hurt Juvy. She said, "This is somebody that we knew. It's somebody that we loved. It's somebody that we trusted, like we watched demons grow up. So this is a sad case. This is tragic, so we are just praying for justice." But instead of sobering up and honoring his relationship with the families and the victims, Melly is busy inflicting further pain on the grieving parents. Melly's shenanigans seem to be never-ending as he even tried to escape the courtroom one day. In a video shared online, Melly is seen contemplating whether he should make a run for it after the police officer left his side for a few moments. While he quickly realized that such a plan was never going to work, his actions were enough to prove how he isn't remorseful at all. Treating the trial like a joke is only meant to hurt the families. While Melly continues to act in his bizarre ways, his lawyer is trying hard to save him. The only thing in Melly's favor so far is the lack of motive. Juvy and Sakchaser were both close friends with Melly, and apparently they didn't have any fight or disagreement with Melly. So why would he decide to kill them one day? His lawyer brought this up in court and talked about this didn't make any sense. A young man wakes up one day and decides that he's going to kill two of his best friends that he grew up with, best friends that he hangs out with, best friends who he lives with, best friends whose careers he was trying to launch alongside his own. After 4 years of investigation, the state comes and says, hey, he killed two of his best friends. And you're wondering why, and their answer is, I don't know. That's the first indication that they're just guessing and don't know what they're talking about. But if what the lawyer says is true, shouldn't it be equally weird that Melly would refuse to take the court proceeding seriously and instead try to turn it into a joke? If he was really upset and hurt over the death of his best friends, he would not try to make things harder for their families. But looks like that is exactly what he's doing at the moment. Now the tables are turning in favor of Melly as the possibility of a mistrial becomes greater. Melly's attorney says the prosecution has tainted by trial. The jury sat there while the state made implication after implication, introduced inadmissible evidence after inadmissible evidence to the substantial prejudice of this defendant. If Melly's attorney is successful, he might be able to win the case and walk free. Even now, Melly has no words on the death of his friends or the suffering of their families. Instead, he thinks he is being treated unfairly in prison. He talked about his living conditions in prison and told the media he is being discriminated against. As of this moment today, I am officially in fear of my life. I am the only inmate being housed in the vacant unit with no phone privilege, no television, and no access to a newspaper. They are watching my every move on camera, making sure I don't use the phone to tell the world how I am being mistreated, discriminated against, threatened physically, harassed. When I come out of my cell for 1 hour a day, all other inmates in the adjoining dorms must go back to their cell. I am being subjected to cruel and unusual treatment. Melly hasn't explained why he thinks everyone has ganged up against him. His behavior is anything but normal, and it really makes one wonder if Melly is normal at all. One of his videos is enough to give anyone nightmares. In a singing video, Melly is singing about a friend dying in his arms, and he turns around to give a knowing smile to the camera.
It's too late, my friend, it's time to say goodbye, and he died inside my arms.
There is no other explanation for this video except that he is openly mocking and taunting the people. This isn't the first time he has openly and proudly confessed to killing his friends. Right after the shooting, Melly proudly declared on social media that he had done it.
And Mr. Demons responds very succinctly, I did that. Shh.
Melly's obsession with murder is obvious from the songs he writes. He openly admitted that the first thing on his mind whenever he wakes up is murder.
I literally woke up in the jail cell and I was like, wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind.
Melly is also obsessed with guns and bullets. He is fascinated by how easily they can kill a person and take away his soul.
I found my first gun when I was 9 years old, bro. Ever since then, like growing up, I was so addicted to the bitches. I love that bitch. If you up that bitch at a nigga and bust his ass.
All this time, fans thought he was boasting just like every other rapper out there, talking about guns, violence, and murder. But now it's clear that Melly wasn't just saying these things. They are true, and he is in fact a dangerous killer. Not only is he not remorseful and guilty for killing his poor friends, he is also enjoying seeing their families suffering and hurting. People are taking to social media to talk about the Melly trial. One person wrote how Melly's non-serious attitude is only going to end up harming him. Footage has been released of YNW Melly getting into the car his friends were murdered in. Not looking good. He needs to start taking this shit seriously. His life is on the line and he's sitting in court laughing. He won't be laughing soon. Another thinks that his non-serious behavior isn't even shocking considering his personality and actions. If someone can murder his best friends without any clear motive, you can count on him for being psychopathic. He wrote, everybody shocked YNW Melly laughing with his lawyer in court like this man ain't smokes his best friends and has an alternate personality named Melvin Lamau. That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.